I will argue that this is the best place to see an OSU football game, besides being at the stadium. And anybody who comes in here, staff, patrons, or whatever, you do OHIO in the theater. OSU Michigan games are just crazy. I mean, it's fun. The energy's here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lined up wall to wall, packed.
Really had a good time yesterday here at the football game. So being able to drink good beer, have a sandwich, and watch the game. I was amazed at how crowded it was. So I figured we'd just walk in. We got here right around the kickoff time and had to sit against the wall down there. There were only 2 seats left, so that was a fun happening too.
The video is just about me being 18 and all my friends and everything else. And this was a big part. I was here all the time. It just seemed like a natural fit to come here and, make a video. That was when Kenny was still alive and he was the ticket taker. And then John Conti came out and I was like, hey, will you give me a tour and I'll get it on video? And so he did. And things have changed a lot inside since then, but still the same with the Velvet Elvis and the bar and the screen and everything.
A friend of mine brought me for the Ramones documentary that they were showing at the time. So we came to see the Ramones documentary, and at the end of it we were standing outside while she was smoking, and we looked in the display case outside, and it said Rocky Horror Picture Show, first and third Saturday of every month. I've been coming ever since, and about a year later, they were like, okay, you don't have an excuse anymore, you have to be on cast. And it's really great to have it at Studio 35 because you're having it at like an independently owned local theater. I mean, if it was at like a Marcus Theater or something, it just wouldn't have the same effect because, they're not going to let you throw things. They're not going to let us get up on stage half-dressed like we do. We really get a lot of freedom being here at Studio 35. And the staff is really fantastic. Everybody here knows us. They're always so friendly when we come in. Some friends of mine, Krista and Craig Bushman, got married here. He actually proposed to her on the stage during the middle of a show.
He had worked everything out with the cast, which just drove me insane, and because I knew nothing of it. And so we get up there and just goofing off, we're gonna re-divergenize ourselves, just have fun, whatever. And it was during one of our games where they had sex dice that tell you actions to do, and his were kiss below the waist. So he got down on one knee and kissed my knee, and then he proposed to me in front of 75 people, and I couldn't say a word. All I did was squeal, and someone in the cast had to interpret, I think that means yes.
A couple years ago, my kids are homeschooled, and my son and his friends made a home movie, and it was pretty exciting. We contacted Damon, and he allowed them to show their home movie on the big screen, and that was really exciting. The kids all came in a limo, and all of their homeschool friends and their family were here to greet them, and it was a great experience.
I actually, because I'd been working nights the whole time I lived here, I didn't even know about Studio until about 2 years after I moved here, and I came here with a friend, and I'm like, this is a great theater. This is actually a lot like other theaters I've worked at in the past. It's like neighborhood theaters with a really funky vibe, definitely staff influence, decorating sense, and just where it was really a community feeling. You walked in and you felt like people knew you, and also that they were sort of looking out for you in terms of what they were trying to show. One of the things that was very cool while I was here is that for a time, Joe Neff, who currently runs the horror movie marathon, the annual horror movie marathon, he's actually doing it now at the Grandview. He did it for a couple of years here, and he got some really cool guests. He got like Joe Bob Briggs, and he got Bruce Campbell, but by far the coolest was George Romero. Aside from the fact that, it was a full theater, people here all night, and when you have all-night marathons, there's really a special vibe and a special aroma that you can't get anywhere else.
George Romero came, and we paid him a fee to show up and sign autographs, talk to people. He has a huge, huge heart, kind man. We paid him for only 2 hours, and he stayed for like 8. He was here the entire time. Fans were lined up outside. It was cold, it was miserable, and he sat right over there, signed autographs, talked to people, spent, minutes with each individual person.
Like anybody who asked something of him, he was just incredibly gracious.
And he did it because he loves film, he loves his fans. This was a really, that really changed my, that changed something in me about movies. And that was a big thing to see for me.
That was a really interesting sign of what you can do with this theater. And that's one of the things that I kind of like about the current owners, as Eric and Rita and Damon, is they seem to be trying to figure out, you know, we've got this cool space, what can we do with it, what can we show here? And I think it's, you know, that kind of imagination and creativity is one of the things that's cool about Studio 35.
Studio 35 means Clintonville to me. That's all. It's the first thing that pops in my mind, and it's a way for me to have it always in my heart. So I think people who don't have the experience of Clintonville find it hard to understand what this area offers. For people who have lived here, they're very passionate about it. And a lot of people have lived here when they're starting out in life, move on, or come back, but it's a commonality, and I think this movie theater here is a very important aspect of reflection of that neighborhood feeling.
Instead of buying it outright, Damon gave us the opportunity to be part of this, and we're very thankful for that. With everything, you know, the good and the bad.
There was a situation where I got up one day, and by the end of the day, I didn't have any employees. And it was really, I was like, wow, okay.
You know, we were like looking at each other like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Well, we didn't have to worry about that because as soon as word got out, we turned away 50 people who wanted to work here. I mean,
Yeah, all right.
and that's the thing. Everybody wanted to be
behind
here.
the bar. They're like, let's just come behind the bar.
Right.
We can help you.
Yeah, a lot of customers come in and help. Chris Imhoff and Bernie, Kat, and also Mark. You know who you are. Never forget everything that all of you do for me.
The root cause of the folks who wanted to leaving was because they were so passionate. We had, you know, sort of different ideas. And so, you know, I can't say that I fault them for that. They were really excited about the theater and they had their own ideas about that. So, you know, after this started to happen, I mean, what we learned very quickly was just how passionate people in the community as a whole. I mean, there were letters in the newspaper. It went on for multiple weeks that there were letters to the editor from all sorts of people, previous owners, patrons, you know, both good, you know, from our standpoint and not so good. But,
Sure.
you know, just hearing the outpouring of people's feelings about the theater in general, you know, for us, it was just so telling that this is such a special place. And so, you know, we had a great foundation to move forward.
Absolutely.